Magicka Wizard Wars adds in a third map and more. Armored Warfare shows off impressive pre-alpha gameplay. Dota 2 drops in a major game-changing update, and Skyforge introduces the Paladin.
Pinball.
What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending September 8th, 2014. Starting off the news this week is Star Conflict celebrating its launch with Update 1.0 and the release of its highly anticipated Invasion mode. The launch trailer you see playing here gives you just a brief idea of all the action packed into one launch event, which for 1 week has players join the battle to protect their home bases against an alien assault. Naturally, the more aliens vanquished, the bigger the reward for everyone, so definitely don't hold back. With Invasion mode, players will team up in parties of 4 to explore the new open space areas and combine forces as they take on quests featuring both PvE and PvP situations. Not to mention the materials gathered during these missions and exploration can be used to craft very unique gear and even entire new spaceships. That seems pretty cool.
Warning, comms link lost.
More space news up next with Warframe landing on the Xbox One, which is crazy because it wasn't that long ago since it was just an announcement. Warframe became the first free-to-play title released through the ID at Xbox program that allows indie developers, kind of like Digital Extremes, to self-publish their games on the Xbox One. And seeing that Warframe has heavy emphasis on co-op play and clan building, the game takes full advantage of the social connectivity and community building features offered by the Xbox One. Second screen functionality through Smart Glass will also be utilized with the Warframe Nexus app to provide players with real-time game information and stats. It's kind of cool how quickly Warframe expanded its audience, being amongst the first group of free-to-play games to make it to the next-gen consoles. In even more space-themed news, and another game making its way to another platform, is Robocraft. Last week, indie developer FreeJam announced that Robocraft is available on both Mac OS and Linux OS. You guys are often asking for good games on Mac and Linux. Well, here's another one. With that, they've also announced some pretty nice accolades, like the fact that Robocraft has gained 2.4 million registered users since January, went from 5 developers to more than 10, and staying in Steam's top 20 most played games. Not bad. Okay, seeing that this seems to be a theme here, Delta Rising is the latest major content update announced for Star Trek Online. Calling for the intervention of the United Factions, the announcement trailer you see playing here reveals the first glimpse of the trials and tribulations that lie ahead of them in the Delta Quadrant. Set 32 years after the events of Star Trek Voyager, bringing players to the Delta Quadrant, a mysterious region of space recently made easily accessible through an ancient Iconian gateway. This content has players explore uncharted worlds and interact with an alien species, as well as partner with the well-known crew members of the Voyager, obviously voiced by the original show actors. I always think that's cool when they do that. In a slight change of pace, next up, some news on Aura Kingdom. Area Games released the latest content update for Aura Kingdom, which is aimed towards system enhancements, including an upgrade of the Eidolon companion characters, new game modes and dungeons, as well as new features in the crafting and fishing systems. In response to the community, a new solo mode has been made available for all existing dungeons. New dungeons are added to the game, respectively at levels 65 and 70, with even more items to unlock. Several new Eidolons have entered the game with this update, and several existing Eidolons are now available to evolve to their third stage. News for European Dragon Nest players, the recently announced Assassin class is now available in the game. As you can probably imagine, the Assassin utilizes daggers, arm blades, chains, and summons to attack his enemies from the shadows. The new class can choose between 2 specializations when he reaches level 15, either the Chaser or Bringer, which in turn offer another 2 sub-specializations each. The Chaser job focuses more on hand-to-hand combat, whilst the Bringer job focuses on buffing and supporting the group. Plenty of options when it comes to Assassin, which is now available in-game. Get even more info from the site post at MMOHuts.com. Next up, as of today, September 8th, the short open beta period for ArcheAge has now come to an end. But nobody should be sad about that, unless, it took you that long just to download all 20-something gigs of it. But that aside, the game is only 8 days from its official launch, and for plenty of gamers, that's worth celebrating. On the downside, following the open beta, they do plan to wipe all the servers in order to prepare for the game's Head Start for Founders, which starts on the 12th for Founders. Of course, if you were planning on gaining Patreon status, you still have the option to pick up a Founders Pack in order to get into the game 4 days early. Now, for those of you who are not infatuated with ArcheAge, very few of you, Wakfu will be available 2 days later on September 18th. The current closed beta is set to end on the 16th with no server wipe, and after that, players in select countries, including the US, will have free-to-play, non-restricted access to Wakfu via Steam. The other cool news here is that the team behind Wakfu is looking at this as a fresh start, with big things planned for the future of the game. News came in last week for Magicka Wizard Wars. Paradox Interactive and Paradox North announced a new map for Wizard Wars recently called Displacement Ridge. This new map features teleportation pads and a few extra sneaky surprises for those who are particularly observant. Oh, and beavers. Whatever, that could mean. Aside from that, they've introduced daily treasure chests and a referral program that provide players with exclusive rewards. When opening a chest, players have the chance to nab additional coins for in-game purchases, crystals to unlock new magics, or even the rare chance to win a new robe. Next up, Zombies, Monsters, Robots released a new trailer showing off Threshold Defense, a new game mode that pretty much has everything you've seen in ZMR come through portals, and, of course, your job is to defend the other portal that goes to Earth. So basically, it's like a tower defense mode where you have to focus on waves of enemies, but you do have the opportunity to engage in new maps that contain environmental unlocks like turrets, teleports that get you to higher vantage points, and even mech suits, for the big jobs. In addition to the new game mode, the most recent update brought in 5 new maps, including campaign and PvP modes, new costumes, and the introduction of epic tier weapons. All this is available now, but for even more details, head over to the site posted at MMOHuts.com or check out Disney PW's early dev interview with Inmass right here. A huge update finally arrived in Dota 2 recently, known as the Techies update. Dota 2 welcomes its most notorious explosive personalities, Techies. With their abilities, every forest trail, every escape route, and every creep camp can become a devilish trap. Techies use landmines, stasis traps, suicide attack squads, and even invisible explosives that will only detonate when triggered. All that to wreck your team with. Also new in this update, we see an all-random deathmatch game mode, the Gallery of Triumphs as a way to show off your trophies from completed challenges in your Dota profile, an all-hero challenge, and a whole lot more. Head over to the MMOHuts site post for all the details. It's a big one. Looks like Smite has done it again. The whole Sun Wukong, Hoon Bats sort of thing. Anyway, this time it's Ao Kuang who has transformed into a different dragon, Kukulkan, as the Serpent of the Nine Winds. Kukulkan keeps Ao Kuang's original abilities, with of course updated visuals, but for now, Ao Kuang won't be in the game. At least until he's reworked and put back in as a completely new god. But that's not the only god changes coming into this update. Arachne and Odin get some work done as well. Odin takes more of a warrior role, and Arachne, well, seems to be even more OP than ever. We'll just leave it at that. Are you looking for some random back-to-school themed facts tied into Warships? I thought you did. So did Wargaming apparently, with this new World of Warships video discussing the outcome of the closed alpha test, translated into some of the strangest comparisons to stuff happening in schools, I guess. Now if that doesn't make you more bummed about going back to school, I don't really know it will. Mainly because the video is so random. Just show us some gameplay already, please. Speaking of gameplay footage, Armored Warfare isn't shy. Re-released on YouTube, we get to see the first pre-alpha gameplay footage that was presented at PAX Prime. The footage starts off showing some of the vehicles you can use in-game and what some of those vehicles look like after being upgraded with stronger armor. They explain how the match works after that, and to be honest with you, the game that is still in pre-alpha at this point looks pretty damn far along, both with the graphics and the gameplay. So if you're looking forward to this game like I am, check out the gameplay footage video from PAX at the site post at MMOHuts.com. In even more exciting news from My.com, Skyforge reveals the Paladin as one of their many available classes. For those who love the sword and shield, the Paladin is perfect. This guy prefers to fight in the forefront of the battle and is not afraid to meet the enemy face to face. Paladins have a decent amount of health, which allows them to withstand the attack of any force and to tank several enemies at once, while fast regenerations mean that they're able to fight monsters non-stop, performing powerful attacks and spectacular combos as they move from enemy to enemy. Now, the main feature of this class is the large number of defensive skills that include the removal of negative effects and resistance to control. Some of the abilities may do massive damage, while some of the other abilities may taunt. He's definitely one of the most durable and hardy classes around, and in Skyforge, he looks pretty damn cool. Last week I mentioned MMOHuts got nominated for Best PlanetSide 2 video, and you guys voted in the contest to help us win, and for that we thank you so much for your support. But the contest isn't over until the end of the month. Last week, before the recap, we had 63 votes, and after a few days and you guys finding out via last week's recap, we went up to first place with 155 votes, which is awesome, by the way. Well, we got passed again, but all we need to do is keep voting, so everyone who voted last time, vote again, please, and if you're just now finding out, click on the link in the description below and vote MMOHuts. And remember, guys, you can vote once every 24 hours. Plus, voting gives you a chance to win a PS4. No catch. So once again, guys, thank you so much for your support on this. For now, if you're looking for more information about the topics in this week's recap, check the links in the description below. Otherwise, head over to MMOHuts.com/news for even more MMO news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below, or let us know you voted. But until next time, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.